Welcome to the Way of the Taibhsear podcast. This is episode 20, Meditation. This week's Celtic god is Aran. Aran is the Welsh god of the underworld. This is the place of the dead, known as Annan, and it was the resting place for Celtic warriors awaiting rebirth. Aran is a psychopomp, meaning that he conducts souls through the veil between the worlds. The hounds of Annan are said to roam the skies near Samhain, rounding up the souls of all who have died that year in order for Aran to conduct them on their passage to the other side. Reeds are associated with Aran, as they are plants that exist between two places, land and water, just as Aran dwells between the worlds of the living and the dead. Hounds are sacred to him, as they join him in the wild hunt, rounding up souls for their passage to Annan. Invoke Aran to help ease the passage of a dying loved one. Should you see Aran or his hounds roaming the night sky in autumn, prepare for the passage of a friend or a loved one. The first triad of the moon path in the order of the Taibhsear consists of dream work, meditation, and vision seeking. This week we'll be discussing some meditative practices used by the order of the Taibhsear. Before preparing for your meditative practice, consider the spiral for a moment. It is a shape that repeats throughout nature. Our bodies are made up of the spiral double helix of DNA. We live on a planet that has spiraling storms called hurricanes and tornadoes. The nautilus shell is a spiral, as are the ram's horn and the snail's shell. The spiral is a motif used in religious practices of Aboriginal cultures throughout the world. Even the galaxy in which we live is a giant spiral 100,000 light years wide. The spiral is one of the most predominant and beautiful shapes in the universe. Time is also a spiral. The path that is the way of the Taibhsear grew out of the ancient Druids, but it's not identical to the path that the ancient Druids walked. Likewise, the path that the ancient Druids walked grew out of an even older spiritual practice of pre-Celtic peoples. These spiritual practices have ebbed and flowed throughout the history of the human race. They have emerged again and again, like a phoenix rising from the ashes of its former self. They have retained some of the flavor, history, and traditions of their earlier incarnations, while progressing with the times. The path that we now call the Way of the Taibhsear has ebbed and flowed in cycles throughout the history of the human race. A spiral contains elements that are both linear and circular. Think of a spiral staircase. As you climb, you continue to rise in linear fashion, yet you circle around and around the stairs in order to do so. The journey of the Way of the Taibhsear is also a spiral, drawn in time. Druidry rose and fell nearly 2,000 years ago. The Druidry of that time existed in a world without electricity, industry, or modern agriculture. Life in that world was often nasty, brutish, and short. The Druidry of that time was quite a bit different from the Druidry of today. Some of those ancient practices, like human sacrifice and foretelling the future by reading entrails, are ones we would have no desire to revive. Other practices, such as a reverence for nature and for learning, we wish to retain and to honor. As we circle the spiral staircase of time, there will always be patterns of progress and regress. This is the cyclical nature of all things. This is also the cyclical nature of the way of the Taibhsear. Each time we cycle through regress and back into progress, we rise a little higher on that staircase. Many of the things we take for granted today would be looked upon with awe by the ancient Druids. Imagine how a person of the 1st century would react to so simple a thing as a cell phone or a flashlight. So the human race has progressed technologically. But as we have progressed through technological advances, we have regressed in our way of being one with nature. Modern Druidry is a way for the wheel to turn once again towards progress in our relationship with Mother Earth. As we make that turn, we once again rise a little higher on that spiral staircase of time. If you have decided to walk the path and climb the spiral stair with us, you are helping us to restore the planet. By restoring the planet, we restore ourselves. And by restoring ourselves, we are made whole. Imagine you met someone who had never tasted chocolate. Could you describe to this person the experience of eating a piece of chocolate? Could you, using only words, relate this experience to them in a way that they would know what eating chocolate was like? Now imagine you've met someone who has never been in love, or has never been loved by another person. Could you describe to this person what it is like to love and to be loved? Obviously, you can describe these experiences all you want, but until someone has eaten a piece of chocolate or has fallen in love, your description is only going to be a vague approximation of the actual experience. The way of the Taibhsear is a mystery path. Some call it a mystery religion, but I don't like the word religion because of the connotations it carries in our current society. But whatever you call it, the experience of mysteries is central to the way of the Taibhsear as a life path. When I mention to my friends that the way of the Taibhsear is a mystery path, they picture dark rituals in moonlit groves where secrets are whispered not to be revealed under pain of death. In reality, nothing could be further from the truth. It is true that the way of the Taibhsear has many mysteries, but this is not because of any need to keep things secret or hidden from the general public. The mysteries are there because they are things that cannot be expressed in mere words. These things have to be experienced firsthand in order to understand them. In much the same way that the only way to know what chocolate tastes like is to eat a piece of chocolate. Another reason for some mysteries in the way of the Taibhsear is the simple fact that some of us have a more advanced knowledge that is not easily accessible to novices. Think of it as trying to teach an infant to use a pistol. It would obviously be dangerous to do so because the infant has not yet reached a point of development that would allow him to handle a handgun properly. So there are mysteries in the way of the Taibhsear that are only taught when the student has reached a point of development to be able to safely handle the knowledge. This is not done out of a need to deliberately conceal anything. It's done to protect the student from progressing too far too fast into areas that could be potentially dangerous for their present level of spiritual development. The goal of the Taibhsear is to always seek the imbus, or the awen, that source of divine inspiration that connects us on spiritual levels to all that is. It is the ultimate mystery. It cannot be described to those who have never experienced it, but those who experience it for the first time know exactly what it is. This is the essence of mystery. This is the essence of healing. And this is what we seek when we meditate. was a child about 7 years old, I dreamed of King Arthur and Merlin. I remember one Thanksgiving when I was awarded the wishbone from the turkey. My sister and I made a wish, and I got the winning end. What I'd wished for was a castle. I ran outside, and in the innocence of my youth, I actually expected to find a castle in the backyard. I was actually disappointed when I didn't find one. At the time, we lived in the country, and as I walked down the dirt road trying to hide my disappointment, I looked into the field next door to my family's house. There was a grove of trees in the middle of the field. The grove was covered over with kudzu. I'd seen that grove hundreds of times, but this time I saw it with new eyes. Something about the way that the kudzu grew on the tallest trees looked like a castle turret. As I looked again, I began to see a fortress wall. The more I looked, the more my imagination transformed the kudzu into a castle. Right there before my eyes, my imagination had allowed my wish to come true. To me, this is how all magic works. We don't do magic to effect change in our external environments. We do magic to create change within ourselves. The rituals and tools of magic work to evoke change within us so that we may see things in a new way. The magic is always there, all around us. We simply have to change ourselves in order to be able to see it. If the way we've been seeing things is causing us to feel stress or pain or worry, then magic is the means by which we may heal ourselves so that we may begin to see the world in ways that do not hurt us. Our meditative practice opens the door to the realm of magic so that this healing and understanding can begin. Think about what magic means to you. What do you think of the concept that magic really means changing yourself so that you see the world in a different way? Experiment with different ways of seeing and being in the world. The author Anais Nin once said, "We don't see things as they are, we see things as we are." In what ways could you change yourself so that you can see the magic in the world that surrounds you? How could a meditative practice help you to achieve these transformations? What is it about meditation that can help you to find the magic in your world?
Once in a month when the moon is full, some secret place shall ye gather. Adore the spirit of me who is Queen of all of the wise, and I hear you calling. behold, I have been with thee since the beginning of time, and I am that which ye shall attain, the end of desire. And I hear you calling, 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 and I hear you calling.
Before beginning to learn about the art of meditation, it's first necessary to define what we mean by meditation. In essence, meditation is an exercise designed to create an altered type of consciousness for a specific purpose. Meditation involves using your will to alter your mental state by slowing down and paying attention. Several studies have indicated that practicing meditation can actually change the physical structure of your brain. A 2011 study by Britta K. Holtzel and several other scientists revealed that meditation causes changes in the density of the gray matter in the areas of the brain responsible for judgment, emotional regulation, and serenity. This study demonstrated that these changes can take place in as little as 8 weeks. Such studies indicate that by simply altering your consciousness, you can affect physical changes in your body, specifically in your brain. The implications of this are tremendous for those interested in healing and magic. For the purposes of the Way of the Taibhsear, there are 2 types of meditation, active and passive. Passive meditation involves simply paying attention to the moment by focusing on something neutral, such as a candle flame or your own breathing. It has no goal other than to help you to ground and center and to relax and calm yourself. Active meditation, on the other hand, is more of a directed meditation designed to achieve a particular purpose. Color breathing for healing, or the Druid's egg for protection, would be examples of active meditations. To begin exploring the different types of meditation, we'll start with the techniques of passive meditation. Passive meditation is a preliminary to any meditation activity, as it's necessary to ground and center through passive meditation before beginning any active meditation. A passive meditation involves grounding and centering yourself by focusing all of your attention on a particular stimulus. This stimulus could be almost anything, but traditionally the breath itself is chosen, because while you may not always have a candle or a mandala upon which to focus your attention, you always carry your breath with you. Centering involves letting go of the cares of the day, setting aside all other concerns, and simply focusing on the present moment. Grounding involves getting in touch with the telluric energies of the earth. The Tree of Life meditation we've done on previous podcasts is a way to help with grounding, in which you visualize the energy from your body as the roots of a tree reaching into the earth to tap into the telluric energies. There are 5 types of breathing used in Taibhsear meditations. All of them involve focusing as much attention as possible on nothing else but your breathing. As you meditate, notice how the muscles of your abdomen move. Feel these sensations in great detail. Pay attention to how the air flows in and out of your mouth and your nostrils. See if you can detect any minute changes in consciousness while you inhale or while you exhale. Set your thoughts and feelings aside and focus only on your breathing. Sometimes people with limited experience in meditation believe that the goal of passive meditation is to stop thinking. That's not exactly the case. The idea isn't to stop thinking altogether, but to disengage from the thoughts and feelings that can act as barriers to achieving higher states of consciousness. You always have a thought stream in your mind. Even your dreams are a type of thought stream. If you picture your thoughts as a river flowing through your mind, then the goal of a passive meditation isn't to dam up the river and stop it from flowing. The goal of a passive meditation is to simply stop swimming in the river for a while and to climb out of the river, sit on the river bank, and watch it flow by. By climbing out of the river, you are leaving doing mode and entering into being mode. Entering being mode involves setting aside any thoughts about the past or the future, or any feelings that you have that you might have to be doing something. Being mode means paying attention only to the moment. Picture ripples on the surface of a lake. Each ripple is a thought. The goal of passive meditation isn't to make the lake disappear. The goal is to sit quietly until the ripples calm and the surface of the lake becomes as smooth as a mirror. This focus on the thought process teaches us that we are not our thoughts. We are something else entirely. For example, suppose during a meditation that you make it a goal to stop your thinking process. You manage to sit quietly without any conscious thoughts for several minutes, but then you gradually become aware that you've begun thinking about something. Your immediate reaction might be, "Oh no, I've just started thinking, I need to stop that." The question here is, what part of you recognized that you were thinking? It couldn't be your thoughts, because that's what you noticed in the first place. So it must have been something else, some other part of you that noticed the thoughts. This something else is what we call the true self. It's the internal observer that teaches us that we are not our thoughts. The true self teaches us that if we have thought or feeling processes that lead us to results that we don't want in our lives, we have the ability to change our thoughts to something more productive. If I have a negative thought about myself, I can choose to identify with that thought and therefore act in negative ways. Or I can access my true self and realize that a negative thought about myself is just a thought. Thoughts aren't facts. And the thought isn't who I am unless I choose to believe that it is. So if there's any goal to a passive meditation, it is to quiet the thought stream so that the true self can speak. It's to become a vessel that can be filled with the quiet voice of our own divine selves through the awan. To begin a passive meditation, find a comfortable position free of distractions, either sitting or lying down. Align your spine so that you are free of any stress points. If you're wearing any tight clothing, you may wish to loosen it. It's best to practice a passive meditation at least an hour after eating, as digestion tends to interfere with the relaxation. When you have found your comfortable position, you may find it helpful to close your eyes. To begin this passive meditation, first center yourself. To center yourself, let go of the cares of the day by closing your eyes. Now turn your attention inward. focus on nothing but the sensations of your breathing. To allow yourself to just be, gradually become aware of the thoughts and the feelings that you may be experiencing. In being mode, we realize that just because we're having thoughts and feelings, that doesn't mean we have to act upon them. The goal here is to allow the true self to come forth. Notice the sensations of your abdomen as it rises and falls with each breath. Turn your attention inward as you focus only on your breathing. You're not trying to go any place. You're not trying to do anything. You're simply present in this moment, observing your body as you breathe. As you continue to focus only on your breathing, you may notice that from time to time your mind begins to wander. That's only natural. It's what minds do. Be aware that if your mind wanders, you don't have to follow it. Simply wait for your mind to return to you by continuing to focus only on your breathing. If you do notice your mind wandering, don't consider this to be a failure. If you start judging yourself for allowing your mind to wander, such thoughts are simply more thoughts. And one of the objects of a passive meditation is to allow your thoughts to calm and quiet so you can just be. If you find yourself having thoughts, just return to your breathing and allow your mind to come back to you by returning your attention only to the process of your breathing. As you continue to breathe, remember that there is no past and there is no future. There's only this present moment. Allow yourself to be in this moment, here and now. Anytime your consciousness wanders, return it to the now of the present moment. To end the meditation, gradually expand your awareness. If you're sitting, allow yourself to become aware of how your body makes contact with the chair. If you're lying down, allow yourself to feel how your body contacts the bed or the floor. Continue to expand your consciousness outward until you become aware of your immediate surroundings. When you feel you're ready, slowly open your eyes and return to yourself. Conclude the passive meditation by taking with you any insights, thoughts, or feelings you may have gained in your practice today. As you end the meditation, open your eyes while remaining calm, yet alert and relaxed. are 5 basic types of breathing used in both active and passive Taibhsear meditation. These are quiet breathing, deep breathing, fast breathing, breath of fire or the dragon's breath, and breath of the sea. Different types of breathing are used for different purposes. You may experiment with each type of breathing to see which works best for you. It is possible to use several different types of breathing during the same period of meditation. For example, when doing a grounding and centering meditation, I typically begin with the quiet breathing, followed by the deep breathing. If I'm in a particular need of clearing my head, then I go into a period of dragon's breath, followed by more deep breathing. I then return to quiet breathing before concluding the meditation. Let's look at how these breathing techniques work. The first is quiet breathing. This is the type of breathing that we do naturally when we're not consciously focusing on our breathing. It's regular and even, not requiring any effort or concentration to achieve. This type of breathing works well for starting or ending a meditation, but it doesn't allow for the rich oxygenation of the blood and therefore the brain that comes with deep breathing. Deep breathing is done by filling the lungs to their capacity. To do deep breathing effectively, picture a full tube of toothpaste. If you were to empty that tube, you would start at the bottom, rolling it up and squeezing out all of the toothpaste as you go until reaching the top. Likewise, to exhale during a deep breath, you would start with the lower reaches of your abdomen, pushing the air out there first, then through the lower chest, then through the upper chest, finally expelling any remaining air by rapidly contracting the abdominal muscles. To inhale in deep breathing, reverse the process. Take the air into your upper chest first, then your lower chest, then your upper abdomen, and then finally your lower abdomen. It may help to visualize the air as colored light entering your body. In fact, in color breathing, which we will discuss later, we will do just that. As air enters and leaves your body, focus your attention on the sensations you experience along the way. Deep breathing is a slow and deliberate method of breathing. People experienced with this technique can slow their breathing to no more than 2 or 3 breaths per minute. This type of breathing is used to achieve clarity, serenity, and calmness, as it naturally slows down your heart rate and your blood pressure. The next is fast breathing. Fast breathing is rapid, deep breathing. Extended use of fast breathing can lead to hyperventilation due to hypoxia. Therefore, fast breathing is best used in short bursts of no more than 30 seconds to 1 minute of duration at a time. The purpose of fast breathing is to clear the throat and the nasal passages, often in preparation for a deep breathing exercise or for the breath of fire. The breath of fire, or the dragon's breath, is a special type of deep breathing. You begin the dragon's breath by inhaling using the deep breathing breath. As soon as your lungs are completely full, then you rapidly exhale. Think of blowing out a candle. This rapid exhalation should be audible, like Dragon's breath begins slowly and then gradually speeds up. When done properly, the breath of fire should sound like a locomotive gaining speed. Do this for 3 sets of 9 breaths, pausing briefly between each set. Don't do it for more than 9 breaths at a time, as hyperventilation is a danger with this technique. The breath of fire charges the entire nervous system, leaving you relaxed yet energized. It should be used whenever a major undertaking is about to take place that will require a lot of energy work. This is especially useful before conducting either public or private rituals. The final type of breath work we'll talk about with this podcast is the breath of the sea. Breath of the sea is accomplished exactly like deep breathing, with the exception that you hold your breath at the peak of each exhalation and inhalation. Picture a wave breaking. Notice how it hesitates for a moment before it breaks upon the shore, and you'll see where this technique gets its name from. Experiment with holding your breath for short counts at first, then gradually build up to longer counts. Try not to exceed a count of 9 beats or more when holding your breath. When I do Breath of the Sea, I start by doing 1 deep breath, followed by a hold for a count of 1. I then exhale and hold for a count of 1. On the next breath, I hold for a count of 2, then 3, then so on, until reaching 9. Breath of the Sea is especially useful for relaxing and meditating after a period of exertion, such as exercising, walking, bicycle riding, or doing other energy work. For this week's activity, practice all 5 types of breathing while doing various activities, especially while doing a passive meditation. Are there particular types of breathing that seem to be better suited to certain activities? Which type of breathing works best for your own personal meditative practices? If you have a journal or a blog, you may wish to write your responses to these questions in it. On next week's podcast, we will talk about active meditations. For this week, just try the various different types of breathing as you do passive meditations.
In the way of the Taibhsear, we use the Celtic tree alphabet known as the Ogham. In this section of the podcast, we will present one character of the Ogham each week, offering information on the meaning of each letter of the Ogham alphabet, trees associated with each letter, the healing and magical properties of each tree, gods and goddesses associated with each tree and letter, and the divinatory meanings of each letter of the Ogham. Since we will be discussing medicinal uses of the plants in this segment of the podcast, please remember that herbal medicine requires caution and practice. None of the medicinal uses discussed on the Way of the Taibhsear podcast should be attempted by a novice. Some parts of the plants of the Ogham are poisonous, and people with allergies should also be aware of the potential allergic reactions to plants. If you are interested in herbal medicine, find a skilled practitioner and take lessons. Do not attempt to use medicinal plants without the supervision of an expert.
The letter O of the Ogham alphabet is represented by Un, the gorse. Its divinatory meaning is adaptation, transmutation, and modification. Since the gorse of the original Irish Ogham alphabet is not native to the Appalachian region, which is the home of the Order of the Taibhsear, we use the native plant, the Carolina jessamine, or the yellow jasmine, which grows locally here. Healing properties of the Carolina jessamine. Most parts of this plant are poisonous. In the past, it was used to treat nervous disorders. But since the doses are so exacting, it's not recommended that anyone use the Carolina jessamine for this purpose. There are other more effective and less risky plants of the Ogham that may be used for similar purposes. Carolina jessamine, or yellow jasmine as it is also known, contains 2 powerful alkaloids that can lead to total respiratory failure, causing the victim to suffocate. Magical uses. Gorse magic is the magic of fertility and prosperity. A gorse hedge around your home will protect it from the dark fairies who cannot pass through it. The Carolina jessamine has a similar effect in protecting your home from dark magic. Its bright yellow flowers naturally repel the dark forces. and its poisonous flowers do the same. Burning its wood protects you from curses or from dark magic. The golden flowers are said to attract gold, so this is a plant that is also good for money spells. Gorse and yellow jessamine are both closely associated with the Celtic sun god Lu because of their bright yellow color. Both of these plants tend to blossom fully by the vernal equinox. In Brittany, the Celtic festival of Lunasa on August 1st is known as the Festival of the Golden Gorse. In the home of the Order of the Taibhsear here in the Carolinas, we often celebrate Lunasa by decorating with flowers from the Carolina jessamine. As one of the sacred trees, gorse was introduced into the Celtic Beltane bonfires. In our sacred fires, we substitute Carolina jessamine. If cattle or other livestock are to be blessed at Lunasa, 2 sacred fires are built, and the animals are made to pass between them to assure Lu's blessing and protection. If you wish, you may also have members of your local group march between the fires for your rites at Lunasa. Burn and crush jasmine flowers in your bedroom before bedtime in order to have prophetic dreams. Due to its association with fertility and with the sun, it's also a popular decoration at the celebration of the vernal equinox. Essential oil of the jasmine can be used to attract sexual love of a spiritual rather than a physical nature. You've been listening to the Way of the Taibhsear podcast on International Pagan Radio, where it's all pagan all the time. This has been episode 20, Meditation. Music on this episode featured Ancient Tears by John Fry, Nerika by Dead Can Dance, I Hear You Calling by Chalice and Blade, and Uvel Uvel by Omnia. The Way of the Taibhsear is the official podcast of the Order of the Taibhsear. You can learn more about us at taibhsear.com. That's TAIBHSEAR.com. The Way of the Taibhsear is a podcast about Druidry and paganism as practiced by the Order of the Taibhsear. Paganism is a wide and diverse community, and we don't claim to speak for all pagans. You can get in touch with us at the show at podcast@taibhsear.com. Again, that's podcast@taibhsear.com. The Way of the Taibhsear is sponsored by Elder Grove Seminary, offering the best in pagan education, with online bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in ministry and divinity. Learn more about Elder Grove Seminary at eldergrove.org. Until next time, blessings of the ancestors.